Okay, so anybody who's not here today, go ahead, pause the video, and work on these 5 warm-up problems. Today, here's what's happening today. We have these 5 warm-up problems, kind of clean up some of our homework questions, and then we're going to do the practice test, and we're kind of going to try to get as much of that done together as we can. Okay? And then your homework today is just study for the quiz tomorrow. This 9 weeks is a difficult 9 weeks in the sense that we don't have as many summative grades as we did last 9 weeks. And the reason for that is we'll start doing some OST, I dated myself there, OST review. And when we do OST review, there's no assessment over that. Your assessment is when you take that OST test for the state. So we kind of have a chunk of time there where there's no tests. Then the last week and a half is exams. And so there's like a whole 3 weeks where you guys have no assessments. So it really shortens the number of summative points that we have in the 4th 9 weeks. So all of these are going to be important. So please make sure if you guys need help on this that you are asking. The practice quiz that you received today will be very, very close to the quiz to make sure we're good to go. I didn't want to just turn you loose on this today because I felt like I needed to make sure we are clear and good to go. All right, let's go ahead and go over this. McKenna, number 1, what are you going to do to solve number 1?
Divide by 3.
By what?
By
-3. And when you divide by -3, what do you get?
25.
X
Squared
equals
25.
25. Always isolate the x squared first. Now what do?
Find the square root of both of them.
Take the square root of both sides, and when you do, what do you get?
X equals 5.
What'd you forget?
The negative sign?
Plus or
Oh,
minus. Because remember, back at this step up here, when you add x squared equals 25, 5 times 5 is 25, and -5 times -5 is 25. Okay? Questions on number 1. All right, Cal, number 2. What are you going to do here?
Subtract 12.
And when you subtracted 12, what did you get?
X squared equals +2 or -2.
Okay. Now what did you do?
Then I tried to square it, but you can't square it.
Yeah. Can you take the square root of a negative? So there is no solution or no real solution. Very good. Can't do a negative. Sarah, help me with number 3.
So you add 15 to both sides.
Add 15 to both sides. When you do, what do you get?
4x squared equals 0.
Okay, now guys, we're not done. We still need to isolate that x squared. What are you going to do next?
Divide both sides by 4.
Divide both sides by 4. When you do, you get what?
X squared equals 0.
And now?
You find the square root.
Now, is there such a thing as plus or minus? Well, what's the square root of 0?
0.
And is there such thing as plus or minus 0? No, you just have 0. Very good. Questions on 3. All right, number 4. Number 4 was probably pretty difficult. Jacob, what did you do first to isolate the square?
So I divided 9 by 4.
Divided both sides by 4. Now, when you do those cancel, you get x minus 3 squared. Now, guys, don't put this in your calculator because 9 and 4, are they special numbers? They're both what? Perfect squares. So I'm just going to write 9/4. Now, what do you do?
So then I found the square root of both sides.
Take the square root of both sides. And when you do, you get what?
X minus 3 equals
And what'd you forget in front of the 3/2?
+.
Okay, so couple things here. When you take the square root of both sides, do the square root of 9, which is 3, the square root of 4, which is 2. Don't forget the plus or minus. Now, how do I solve this for x?
So you add 3.
Add 3 to both sides. And when you add 3, this is the one that I had told you. Don't add 3 and 1.5. Tell me 4.5 and then throw a plus and minus in front of it. That's the common big no-no. How do I want you to write this?
So I wrote it as x equals 3 plus or minus 3 halves.
X equals 3 plus or minus 3/2, which is 1.5. So when you split this into your two problems, you have 3 plus 1.5, or 3 what? Minus. What was 3 plus 1.5? 4 1/2. Or what is 3 minus 1.5? 1.5. That was a difficult problem. How did you guys do on that one? Did we do okay? God bless you. All right. How about number 5? Mallory, you get to help me with this one. What do we do?
The 2 first.
So how do you do that? Did you say add?
Add the 2.
Okay. And when you do, what do you get?
5x squared equals 2.
And remember, I had told you, and I apologize for those of you online at home. I did not share that at the beginning of the video, but on this one, it will say round to the nearest hundredth. Okay, go ahead.
Then you divide by 5.
Divide by 5. And what is 2 divided by 5? Or did you leave it 2/5?
4/10.
4/10. Okay. Now what did you do?
Then you
Square root both. So now when I come to my calculator, your square root is above the x squared button. So again, second square root, 0.4. And what did you get to 2 decimal places?
0.63.
0. But what do we have to remember and be smarter than our calculator? What do we have to put up front? Plus or minus. Don't miss it. I usually put that first. Don't forget that. How did we do on these? Better? Some of you were like, oh, all right. Okay. Homework. I tried to get around and answer any general questions. Anything else that I can answer for you guys? Anything else at all? All right. Grab your computers and a separate sheet of paper. Grab your computers and a separate sheet of paper. All righty. We're kind of going to jump around on our practice test. I want to do the Desmos part first. So we're going to jump down here and do this first. So I would like you guys to jump down here and do the Desmos part first. All right, so on your separate sheet of paper, start with number 12. Tomorrow, when you take your quiz, this is what you will do first. How close is this Desmos part to the quiz tomorrow? Very. If you need help, raise your hand. I'll be happy to come around and give you a hand. You done? Oh, you can do all of them. Come on, 15, 16. Yep. All the way through 16. Yes.
I have a question on this one. You put in the administration. How do you check?
Okay. So you can either bring all of these to this side or this to this side. Doesn't matter which way would you want to do it. Okay, so if you did, now type that equation in. So what would you have? Negative. You'd have negative x squared. And if you bring this over here, you would have to go No. Or can you put those together?
No.
See that negative x squared and what? I'm bringing it over to the
Yeah.
Yeah. And then how would you bring this over? If you're solving this equation, how would you move the 5 to the other side? Yeah. You see that now? Okay, so what would you have as your new equation? Mm-hmm. 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 And now do you see the parabola?
Yeah.
And it doesn't what? Yeah. Okay. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Any questions here? I'll get all the way through 16. Anybody else have any questions? Because are you sure that makes sense? Not hard.
Yeah, I get that.
The other thing is add the x squared. I mean, like positive x squared minus 3x plus 5. But either way, that works too.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Let me make sure that's the right equation. All I asked for that one was the table, or was the equation. Is that what you got? Oh, where are you at? Number 15? 16. Is that what you got? That's right, yep. Yep, number 16, all at once is the equation. That's it. Are we about done? How many people are still working? Raise your hand if you're still working. Okay, another couple minutes. Yes, sir.
Should we round to the nearest hundred?
Yes,
Okay.
2 decimal places. Yep.
Thank you.
Good question. Well, okay, so on 13, 14, and 15, Carter, I rounded to 3 decimal places because that's what the computer gave me.
All right.
On number 16, I went to 2 decimal places. Okay, let's go ahead. Here is number 12. What did you all get for number 12? X equals what? 4. Now, because this bothers me, I'm like, oh, is there another one crossing somewhere that I can't see? A lot of times I will come down here and I will put this in standard form. How do I get this in standard form? What would I do with that negative 16? Okay, I would add it over. So I would have this plus 16. So, McKenna, that's, I think, another one that you were talking about. How can I check that I'm not missing another 0? See how I just added that 16 over. And now you can see, yep, it just touches once and goes back up. And that solution is at x equals 4. Are we cool with number 1? Okay. Not number 1, number 12. Number 13. Number 13, I just typed in x squared plus 4 equals 6x. Now this one, I can clearly see my 2 solutions. Again, if you want to move that 6x over, you would put in x squared minus 6x plus 4. You would see it cross at those 2 points as well. So my solutions here are x equals 0.764, x equals 5.236. Questions there? How about number 14? How'd you guys do on 14? I had negative x squared equals negative 3x plus 5. And I see nothing. And that bothers some of us. Bothers me. Did I type it in right? Can I not see it? So you could either move the negative 3x and the plus 5 over to the left, or I could take the negative x squared and move it to the right. If I do that, what would my equation be? Positive x squared minus 3x plus 5. Either way, you either get a parabola that's up here or down here. Is there any solution? No. So what's the answer to number 14? No solution. Okay, how are you guys on 12, 13, and 14? Are we good? Okay. Number 15. What did we have to do with this function? How do I put that into my Desmos calculator? I have to use what? Y and what? X. You have to use Y and X. So I'm going to come in and type that into Desmos. Now, you don't have to put the Y equals. If you don't want to put the Y equals, I can just put negative 16x squared and then plus 35x plus 11. So there's my parabola. And it says, after how many seconds is the skier 18 feet? How do I know when he's 18 feet? Just put in what? Y equals 18. Jay, what are you doing over there? Okay. Should you be messing around in Desmos? Thank you. All right. And now when I scroll down, how many times was our skier 18 feet? Twice. Once on the way up and once on the way down. So my answers for this are 0.223 seconds and 1.965 seconds. Questions? Now the hard one or harder one. You guys always struggle with this. Okay. It says the table below shows a quadratic relationship. Guys, what is the general quadratic equation? Just general. Y equals what? AX squared plus BX plus C. Now, when I put this into Desmos, it puts a little 1 here and a little 1 there. So what am I going to put here, here, and here? A 1. Because I want it to go up to that table and use those X and Y values. And instead of having equals, I'm going to have a what? Tilde. So that's how I get that equation. So some of you are like, I can never remember that. That's how you remember it. So how do I enter the table? I go to what? add a table. And when I do, I have -5. Oh, hang on. My number lock wasn't on. What is? Why isn't it entering it? There we go. Okay. -5, -2, 0, 2, and 4. And then over here, I have 12, 6, 4, 6, and 12. And you can see, guys, my dots. Like they're looking good. Then down here, I come down and put in y1 tilde ax1 squared plus bx1 plus c. And you get these values over here for A, B, and C. A is 0.379, B is 0.31, and C is 4.345. So what is the model? What is the equation? We're going to use these values to plug into A, B, and C. And what did you guys get? Let's go to 2 decimal places. What did you guys get? A equals what? 0.38 x squared. What was B? 2x plus what? And that's all they wanted, just the model. And again, I got those numbers. For those of you who are having trouble, I got those numbers right here for A, B, and C. It told me what A is, what B is, and what C is. I just plugged it into my model. All right, how are we with Desmos tomorrow? Good? Okay, close your computer. Let's try these 4. Simplifying radicals. Been a little while. Break it up. Yep, find the biggest perfect square, right, Haley? Good. She's like, break it up. That was Monday, which feels like 5,000 years ago. Look at my desk, guys. So awesome. Yes.
On number 3.
Yep.
Would you just find the square root of a perfect square and do 7x squared?
Well, x squared is in the denominator, not in the numerator. So break it up, break them all up. Put that. That's it. Anybody else have questions? And remember, you square root of the top and square root of the bottom. Now, do you know the square root of 7 or can you break out square root of 7? No, so leave it. Top. So go on and write square root of 7 in the top. Divide in the square root of the top. Square root of the top is not a word. Okay. And then think about the square root of x squared. What's x squared of x times x? I'm going to come out. Okay, about another 30 seconds. right. What are we going to break number 1 up into? Jay.
Negative 25 or negative square root 25 and then the square root 2.
Good. Remember, you find the biggest perfect square that divides evenly into that. And he said 25. What's the square root of 25?
5
So you have negative 5.
times the square root of 2.
Are you done? Okay, number 2 had a small trick to it. Maddie, what did you break this? Okay, first, what did you break the square root of 48 up into?
16 and 3.
Yes, guys, 16 is the biggest perfect square. If you use 4 and 12, I'll come back to you in a minute. How many x's do you have?
5,
Okay, what's the square root of 16?
4,
You got the square root of 3. Now we're looking for groups of what?
2,
How many groups of 2 got to come out?
2,
So that'd be x
3
and then square root of. Now rearrange your outies with your outies and your innies with your innies. What do you have?
4x to the second, square root of 3x.
How'd you guys do on that one? Did anybody accidentally use 4 and 12? Remember, if you accidentally broke 48 up using 4 and 12, that's fine, but you cannot stop there because you did not find the biggest perfect square, and 12 can still be broken up into what? 4 and what? What's the square root of 4? So you still get 4 square root of 3, and then you'd have your x's. Don't stop early. Carter?
So I ended up using, I think it was 6 and 8.
Okay, is 6 a perfect square?
6 would not be.
Is 8 a perfect square?
Um,
No. So that's why you don't use those. You want to use a pair of numbers such that one of them is a perfect square.
Okay.
All right, next one. Next one. Let's go to Ethan. Ethan, a lot of people were stopping me and asking me about this one. Okay? You have square root of a fraction, can't have a square root of fraction, so I'm just going to break it all up. Square root of 7, square root of 81, square root of x times x. Help me out. Can you do anything to the square root of 7? No. Guys, we're allowed to have a square root in the numerator, just not in the denominator. What's the square root of 81?
9.
Now, x squared, you're looking for pairs to go out. How many pairs get to go out? Are we done? Guys, don't make that hard. Don't make that hard. Will the denominator be perfect squares tomorrow? Okay, guys, this is like end of March. Does the practice test look like the real test? Will the denominator be perfect squares tomorrow?
Yes.
Okay, last one. Haley. We're going to break this up. Cube root of negative 64, cube root of y times y times y times y. Haley, what multiplies 3 times to give you negative 64? Negative 4. Guys, you are allowed to take the cube root of a negative number. Not a square root, but a cube root you are. And then we're looking for groups of 3. How many get to come out?
1,
What's left underneath?
3, cube root of 1.
Questions there? All right. I want to jump down to number... Okay, I want more time is what I want more of. Let's do 6 real quick. Should be about done. Kyla, what'd you do? Add 6. When you do, what'd you get? Then what'd you do? But it doesn't say to use to round, so you cannot have a decimal. So you're just going to leave this as what? Now you're going to take the square root.
Oh, yeah. The square root of 9, and it's 3. And the square root of 16 and 4.
And what do you put out front? How'd you guys do? Leave that as a fraction. Leave that as a fraction. If you have a perfect square divided by a perfect square, leave it as a fraction. All right, I want to jump down to the word problem. Here. All right, Natalie, you ready?
Yeah.
Rectangular prism has a height of 6 and a length that is 2 times the width. So if this is the width, what's this?
2W.
And it says the volume is 375. How do you find the volume of a prism? Rectangular prism.
They times with 10
So basically, you just take these 3 and you what?
multiply them.
So what you, for volume, you put,
375.
and then you just multiplied what?
6 times W times 2W.
All right, what was 6 times W times 2W?
12W squared.
12W squared. And then what did you do?
Divide by 12.
Divide by 12. Now, it does say round, so am I allowed to go ahead and divide 375 by 12? And when you do, what do you get?
31.25.
So 31.25 equals W squared. Now, what are you going to do?
Times it by 2. Oh, wait.
Take the
Square root.
Now, do I need to worry about putting a plus or minus in front of this one?
No.
Why not?
Because there's only like one answer.
There's only one, because it's you can't have a negative length. Now, when you take the square root of that answer, what did you get?
5.59.
So what would that be to 2 decimal places? Guys, I'm still teaching and you're putting up zippers. That's disrespectful. Keep going. 5.59?
Yeah.
And that would be the width. So that would be feet. So how would you find the length?
Times it by 2.
Multiply it by 2. And when you multiply that by 2, what did you get for the length?
11.18.
The length is 11.18 feet. How'd you guys do on that one? Okay, just so you guys know, the problems I did not get to are here. I will post the answer key. Did anybody do those already? Okay, hang on. I still got 1 minute. Plus or minus 7, 9 or negative 3, no solution, 0, and plus or minus 2.55. I will post the key with all the work tonight. Yes, sir.
So on the last one, number 11, we put it was 5 like 5. I would just round it off to 5.67.
Okay, well, it said to the nearest what?
Hundredths,
That's 2 decimal places. So when you go to 2 decimal places, since that's a 0, are you going to round it up? Nope. Okay. Anybody else? Have a great day.